Welcome back to the Andrew and Ian Show. I'm Andrew Sorwick here again with Ian. Hi, Ian. How are you doing this evening, man? It's a little weird doing a recording for Thursday on a Wednesday, but here we are. How you doing this evening, man?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, like you said, it's a pretty weird feeling, but nonetheless, ready to get it going.
Yes, sir. So let's just get right into it here. We're going to go start with the NFL. Tomorrow night, Thursday night football, we have the Rams hosting the Vikings. The Vikings just a 3-point favorite in this one, which is very, very surprising. The Rams are they're very beat the fuck up. I mean, everyone is injured. They're missing Nakua. I believe they're still missing Cup this week. The offensive line is basically almost all second stringers. They're missing a lot of pieces on the defense. And while the Vikings have injuries, they're nowhere near as beat up as this Rams team. And I feel like that's just disrespectful to this Vikings team that is very, very good this year. The defense is really good. So I'm going to take the Vikings in this one to win. They're going to way more than cover that 3 points. I mean, that should be nothing for this team against a really, really beat up Rams team on the road. Obviously for the Vikings. But I don't see any way that the Rams even keep this one close.
Yeah, as far as I know, Puka Nakua was cleared to practice, so his practice window has been opened at least. I don't know if he's going to be playing against Minnesota, but if same with Cooper Kupp, I don't believe he's going to be playing. So 3 points only in favor of Minnesota is kind of like you said, it's kind of disrespectful. And I mean, I understand that Minnesota is coming off a loss against the Lions on Sunday, so they have a short week. But the Rams played Sunday as well, and they played later on Sunday. So this is, and they just played the Raiders close. And so I'm not confident that the Rams can play this game close at all. The Vikings, almost beat the Lions. They were a Jake Bates field goal away from beating the Lions, and they're a really good team. They're 5-1 for a reason. They've beat the 49ers, and we've seen the Niners aren't all that in a bag of chips this year, but they're still 5-1 nonetheless. So I'm going to take the Vikings, and they're more than gonna cover that 3.
Next, we got the Lions on Sunday hosting the Titans. The Lions, an 11-point favorite this year. This is actually one of the biggest spreads this year. It's the biggest spread so far this year. It actually, if you looked at it at the start of the season, the Lions were actually favored by 13.5. They lost Hutch. It went down to 11.5. It opened this week at 11.5. It dropped down to 10.5, and now it's back up to 11. It's not quite at that 11.5 that it opened the week at, but anyways, the Lions have never ever beaten the Titans before. They are 0-6 against the Titans, but that's going to change this weekend. The Lions are going to win, and I think they can cover that 11 points. This Titans offense cannot move the ball. Now I have Mason Rudolph in because Will Levis is hurt, and this team is just abysmal on both sides of the ball. I mean, no talent at all, and DeAndre Hopkins is more than likely going to Kansas City. So, or I don't know if that trade has gone through yet. Either way, if they don't have Hopkins on Sunday, then they're definitely not doing anything on offense, especially because Mason Rudolph's at quarterback anyways. But, give me the Lions to win. Give me the Lions to cover. They're a much better team. I mean, they're the Super Bowl favorites at this point, I would imagine. If not, maybe, the Ravens are. But either way, give me the Lions to win and cover that 11.
Yeah, normally when you see, a double-digit spread in the NFL, you're kind of sitting there like, is it really that bad? But no, this is a case where the Lions are just that good and the Titans are just that bad. And yes, I believe DeAndre Hopkins has actually been traded to the Chiefs. It's not a is he going to? No, he is traded to the Chiefs. So they're not gonna have him on Sunday. And I mean, Mason Rudolph did okay, but they only scored 10 points against the Bills. So it's not gonna be, you know, any better this week, I don't think. I think it's going to be another, 20 plus point win for the Lions, but 20 is, a big margin, but the Titans are just that bad where it could happen.
Yeah, normally in this league, if you see a double-digit spread, you almost always pick the underdog to cover the spread. Maybe not win the game, but to at least cover it. But when you have this Lions team that is really really good and this Titans team that is really really bad, it's pretty easy to pick the Lions to win and cover. Also, too, I mean, I believe the Bills were only favored at 9.5 last week, and we know how much better this Lions team is overall on both sides of the ball than the Bills. So that's why I say I think it's it's not an easy cover, but it'll be a cover for sure. The Patriots host the Jets, probably this week's toilet bowl of the week. The Jets, a 7-point favorite on the road here. And look, we said it yesterday. The Robert Saleh was clearly not the issue for the Jets. They can't move the ball. Aaron Rodgers is pretty washed up now at this point in his career. They got Devontae Adams, and he didn't really do anything. He got 3 receptions on 9 targets and 30 yards. Not ideal. Now, granted, he'll have a full week of practice this week with the Jets. He only had 2 days of practice last week with them, so maybe that's why he just he needs to get himself more in rhythm with Aaron Rodgers. That said, I am going to pick the Jets to win. I don't think they will cover, though. I think this is going to be a pretty low-scoring affair. The Patriots, they can't move the ball. This Jets defense is still pretty damn good, and so I think that the Jets will win, but it's going to be a very, very low-scoring game, probably something like 17-13, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is like you said, this is very well has the chance to be the toilet bowl of the week. Because I mean, just the records alone, 2-5 and 1-6, it's not good at all. But obviously, the Jets, even at a 2-5 record, are a better team than the Patriots. So I'm going to take the Jets to win. I don't think they're going to cover that 7 points. It, I think they are going to have better rhythm with between Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers is going to find a way to keep throwing picks somehow. And I mean, if I can't really blame him on the one that had that Garrett Wilson had just bounced off his chest. That's not really Aaron Rodgers' fault, but at the end of the day, he still has 7 picks through 7 games, so he's averaging a pick a game. So I can see him throwing at least one.
The Bengals host the Eagles. The Bengals, a 2.5-point favorite in this one. And I got to say, look, yes, the Eagles look good this last weekend, but they just, it's the Giants. The Giants don't really have a good defense, and they obviously don't have a good offense. The I feel like this game is kind of a game that you're looking at. If you're Nick Sirianni and you lose this one, you might as well be on the hot seat. Because yes, the Bengals are playing a lot better than they started the year off recently, but they're still not playing at the best level either. You go down to Cincy and you win this game against a Bengals team that is not performing to where they still should be, but are performing better than what they were to start the year. That's a good look for you, and it keeps you in that division hunt with Washington. Who would have thought that Washington would be leading this division at this point in the year? But anyways, I am going to take the Eagles to win this game. I know since he's favored by 2.5, I feel like the Eagles can win this game. It's just a matter of, can Nick Sirianni actually get his team to play well? They did play well against the Giants, but again, it's the Giants, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But I feel like they can do this, and I'm going to take the Eagles to win.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is a game where it's going to be interesting either way because if the Eagles lose, it's because I don't think they're really that good. But if the Bengals win, it's a case of they're trying to claw back. I am confident in at least Saquon Barkley on the Eagles offense to get yardage and some scores. It's just a matter of, can Jalen Hurts actually produce through the air? Can he actually get more than 120 yards through the air in a game? So it's a matter of who's going to play better, right? Is Joe Burrow going to outperform Saquon Barkley and the minor contribution of Jalen Hurts? I mean, Joe Burrow has T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, so it is possible, but I think I'm going to take Philly.
Yeah, I think the Bengals can win this game. I think they do have the better offense overall, but I feel like that the Eagles defense, they kind of have the edge in this game, so I feel like they could get a couple critical stops. It'll be good for the Eagles, and they can win this one. The Jaguars host the Packers. The Packers just a 4-point favorite in this one, and that one's kind of surprising, but at the same time, not really. I mean, the Jags do a pretty good job of, you know, forcing mistakes from opposing quarterbacks. Not necessarily, you know, getting interceptions, but forcing mistakes from quarterbacks. And the thing is, too, is Jordan Love leads the league in well, he's tied for the lead with interceptions this year with Patrick Mahomes. He's thrown 8 through 7 games so far this year. He's just not been on it at all. He has a very, you know, bad. Last year, for example, he only had 7 picks the entire year, and he has 8 already through 7 weeks this year, and it's just not a good look for him. I do think the Packers, though, obviously much, much better offense, even with Jordan Love performing the way he has been. They can still run the ball very, very well. And obviously, even though Jordan Love does throw a lot of interceptions, he also does throw quite a few touchdowns as well. I feel like the Packers offense can handle business just fine, and the Packers defense is way, way better than I thought they would be this year. And the Jaguars, they suck, so they really can't move the ball against any decent defenses. They can do a good job against bad defenses, but good defenses or even average defenses they can't really move the ball against. So give me the Packers to win. Give me the Packers to cover that 4. I think they win this by a touchdown at the very least.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Packers will win this one by at least a touchdown. I mean, the Jaguars are not a good team by any means. They beat the Colts by 3 points, and they beat the Patriots by 16. Overall, that's not a great resume to have. So I'm like you said, Jordan Love doing a very good Brett Favre impression with a lot of interceptions right now. But I'm looking at Josh Jacobs right now. He only has 1 rushing touchdown through 7 games. He's got to get it going on the ground. I mean, he's got almost 600 yards on the ground. He only has 1 touchdown, though. I'm looking to him at least to score at least 1 or 2 in a game at some point, you know, to really cement that acquisition for Green Bay as a good pickup. And I'm looking at this game as, you know, it might be a possibility. The Jaguars' defense isn't that good. And I mean, Jordan Love is very capable of throwing the ball all up and down on them to the point where they can get, you know, within the red zone to where Josh Jacobs can just punch the ball in. It's just a matter of he's got to do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is he can still ball out, but he just makes a lot of stupid mistakes this year. He's nowhere near the level that he was last year. The Bucks host the Falcons, a rematch from not too long ago, like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago now. They host the Falcons. The Falcons, a 2.5-point favorite in this one, and I think it's going to go down a little differently than it did in whatever week it was that they played each other. I think the Bucks at home, while they haven't been performing very, very well lately, they're still, I believe, missing Vita Vea, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like the Bucks can get the upset win here over Atlanta. That is, and they are favored. Atlanta's favored, you know, by 2.5 in this one. But I also think that the Falcons could win this game. It's going to be close no matter what. We might even see another overtime thriller like we did a few weeks ago with these two teams. But give me the Bucks to get the upset win here.
I'm going to take Atlanta. I think Atlanta's going to get the bounce back, specifically because Tampa Bay lost Chris Godwin for the year. Mike Evans is out for at least the next 3 games.
Oh, you know what? I completely forgot about those injuries. Give me the Falcons to win cover.
Yeah, it's a big loss on, for their wide receiver core for both of them. And now Baker Mayfield he's playing very well this year, but at the end of the day, he just lost, wide receiver 1 and 2 right there. It's next man up, but this is a divisional matchup, and it went the other way for the Bucks with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Now they're out. I think Atlanta's going to win and cover pretty easily.
Yeah, I completely forgot about those injuries. So yeah, give me Atlanta to win and cover that. Miami hosts Arizona. The Dolphins a 3.5 point favorite here, and that's kind of odd. Considering that the Dolphins don't have a quarterback right now. That said, the Cardinals are beat up as hell. They don't have Marvin Harrison Jr. for I think another 2 weeks at least, with him in concussion protocol. And outside of that, I mean, they have a decent receiving core, but nothing elite. But the thing is I just feel like the Dolphins cannot move the ball at all. I mean, yes, they've played some really good defenses lately, but even then, they can't move the ball against they put up only 10 points against a not-so-good Colts defense last week. So I feel like the Cardinals are in a spot here where, one, with San Fran losing last week, they still can fight for a playoff spot, although the way the NFC North is performing, I don't think it's going to happen anyways. But I feel like the Cardinals can win this game regardless, even though it is on the road. It's just the fact that the Dolphins don't have a quarterback, so that's why I just lean towards the Cardinals here. Yes, the Cardinals aren't good by any means, but the Cardinals at least have a quarterback, and that's where I'm gonna make my pick here. So give me the Cardinals to get the upset win here on the road over the Dolphins. But this is gonna be, I think, a fairly low scoring game, and pretty close at the end of the day, regardless.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that Miami's favored in this game. I mean, yeah, Tua did just come back and was cleared and designated return from IR. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's going to play this week, number one. Number two, this Miami team, they lost their backup with a shoulder injury. So they're now down 2 quarterbacks, not just one. And Arizona is somewhat competent. I mean, we saw them beat the 49ers, and the 49ers are definitely a better team than the Dolphins, especially, without Tua or Tyler Huntley. So I'm going to take Arizona to win this one.
Yeah, I completely forgot Tyler Huntley's also out, and like you said, even though Tua's been cleared to play, I don't think he's going to. Not right away, anyways. I mean, he's been out for the past few weeks. His head's probably still not completely healed, anyways. So yeah, give me the Cardinals to win there. The Browns, they host the Ravens. The Ravens, 8.5 point favorite in this one. Well, look, the Browns have a quarterback now. They don't have Deshaun Watson because he's kind of been out, and the Browns' defense is still really good. But this Ravens offense is just absolutely phenomenal. I don't think that the Browns are going to be able to stop them as much as they want to. And the Ravens' defense is also pretty damn good this year. And yes, Deshaun Watson's out, but at the end of the day, you still have your backup quarterback playing, and backups usually don't do too well in this league. So I'm gonna take the Ravens to win this one. I think the Browns' defense is going to do enough to keep it within a score. But so give me the Ravens to win. They just don't cover that 8.5.
Yeah, I'm definitely more confident in the Ravens to win this one. The Browns' defense is decent enough, but I just think with the way Lamar Jackson just played against, the Buccaneers, who are, I think, a better team than the Browns, even defensively, I think they're going to win this game. And 8.5 is a pretty big number, like I said about the Lions, but I think that the Ravens can cover this. I mean, I believe Jameis Winston is starting this game. and we all know what he's famous for. The good old 30-30 season, and the Ravens are very capable of getting turnovers themselves on defense. So I think the Ravens are going to be very capable of covering that 8.5, and they're going to win.
Yeah, I think they are capable of it. I just think the Browns defense is good enough to at least keep it somewhat close, but I could be proven wrong, especially with the way that the Ravens performed last week. The Texans host the Colts. The Texans just a 5-point favorite in this one, and you know I don't like that number 5 at all, but the Colts are just so ass offensively. I don't know, you know, if people realize that Anthony Richardson is just not the dude. I don't believe Jonathan Taylor's playing. He might. It looks like he's yeah, he's questionable. But the thing is that the Texans, their offense has been good for the most part this year. Although C.J. Stroud played horribly last week. I mean, 86 yards, something like that. But I believe that the Texans will win this game. I think they can cover that 5, but my thing is that I think the Texans, their best bet this week is to just run the ball because DeForest Buckner is on IR, so you could just run it up the middle there because they have nothing up the middle to stop the run. That Colts defensive line. So give me the Texans to win and cover that 5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this Texans team is much better than the Colts, and I mean, everyone thought Anthony Richardson was going to be a monster just based off of his combine, but right now, it's not looking like that. And like you said, uh, there's just not really much confidence in this Colts defense. They're not really that good. I mean, they've they lost to the the Jaguars. That alone, they gave up 37 points to the Jaguars. That alone. I mean, and they already played these two teams once at week 1 in the season, and it was a 29-27 win for the Texans. So I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Houston will win, but they won't cover.
Yeah, I think at the very most the Texans win this by a touchdown. Obviously, we know how it went in Week 1 on the road. I feel like at home it gives the Texans a little bit more of an advantage than they already have over the Colts. And that Colts defense just isn't that good. And then, Anthony Richardson's a bum. I mean, this is why you can't take too much from the combine because game tape is more important than the combine. And people are like, oh, well, the combine is all this great. It's really not because we've seen a lot of people have great combines and then do absolute dog shit in the league. And look no further than Anthony Richardson for that one. The Chargers host the Saints. The Chargers, a 7-point favorite in this game. I believe that line has moved. I believe it opened up at 6 for the Chargers, and now it's moved to 7. The Saints are really, really, really beat up. I mean, they got a lot of people, doubtful or just on the injury list regardless. The Chargers, obviously, while they don't throw the ball a lot, they run the ball pretty damn well. The Saints kind of struggle against the run. And, like I said, too, they're just so beat up, especially on the offensive side of the ball, that I just think even though this Chargers defense is not really that great, they're good enough to get the job done. So give me the Chargers to win, and they cover that 7. I think they can win this by at least a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this Chargers team right now is better than the Saints team in the state that the Saints are in right now. Uh, I mean, yes, the Chargers just lost a close game to the Cardinals, but at the end of the day, the Cardinals' offense is in a better state because they have Marvin Harrison Jr. right now. Alvin Kamara did not look good the past few games, and he's the best player right now, but he is just not playing as well as he should be. Now, granted, you went from Derek Carr to Spencer Rattler, but at the end of the day, you know, you should be able to still rush the ball. Now, granted, like I said when we went over the recap, he should get more than 7 attempts on the ground. So it's not necessarily his fault, but at the end of the day, you should also get more than 10 yards off those 7 attempts. So, I'm going to take the Chargers to win this one, and they are going to cover.
The thing with the Saints there too is just the fact that uh, you know you don't really have a pass game with Spencer Rattler, so it's pretty easy to stop the run when you don't have a pass game to really worry about. So, uh, yeah, I just think this is going to be a pretty low scoring game. I mean, but the Chargers will probably win it by a touchdown here. The Seahawks host the Bills. The Bills, a 3-point favorite here on the road, and I'd like that number a lot. I feel like if this was at home for the Bills, it'd probably be about a 6 or 7 point spread here. Look, the Seahawks still, the defense is good. It's not bad. It ain't great, but it's good enough to get the job done in most weeks, unless you're playing the Giants for some reason and you just let Daniel Jones look like a competent quarterback. That said, the Bills are playing at a great level. Josh Allen is yet to throw an interception this year. I think the Bills win. I think the Bills cover as well. I just don't have enough faith in this Seahawks offense. I mean, yes, Geno Smith can ball out, but he's also good for a pick or two each game, so be on the lookout for that. I think the Bills, they're just rolling now, and they've made a couple additions in the last 2 weeks now to really help that offense. Amari Cooper, first game, with the Bills, he had a touchdown last weekend, so I feel like the Bills can handle business here on the road against Seattle.
Yeah, I certainly agree. I love the 3 point spread here. Yes, the Bills, I believe, are a much better team, but at the end of the day, Seattle, they just beat Atlanta to stop a 3 game skid, and they lost to the 49ers, who right now are below them in the standings. So it's and like you said, they lost to the Giants as well, and that was a very bad game for them. But at the end of the day, they're capable of hanging in with some of these teams. But like you said, Josh Allen is on another level right now. 7 games and no interceptions is it's kind of uncharacteristic for him because normally we're used to him throwing at least one or two by now, or maybe even more. But at the end of the day, he just like you said, they got him Amari Cooper. He scored in his first game as a Bill. Keon Coleman had a hell of a game last week. I'm looking at him to have a better game because now there's that main target for that Seattle defense and Amari Cooper to, draw most of the pressure. Now he's going to have that opening for himself. And like we saw, he might not score, but he's going to put up big numbers on low receptions. So I'm going to take Buffalo to win, and they will cover.
The Commanders host the Bears. The Bears, a 3-point favorite here on the road, and I kind of like this number as well. Just like with the Bills being favored by 3. Look, while the Commanders have been playing really good this year, I don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to be playing or not. I don't see him on the injury report, but again, ESPN only shows me only 5 players, so go figure on that. So if he's not playing, I think the Bears can win this game no problem. While Mariota is serviceable, he's not that great. There's a reason why he lost his job in Atlanta. Lost his job in Atlanta 2 years ago, I should say. Now, if Jaden Daniels does play, I feel like the Commanders probably could and should win that game, but I think it's just going to come down to the health of Jaden Daniels if he does play. But I haven't seen if he is or not, but I'm going to assume he's not playing, and that's why the Bears are favored here. And look, Caleb Williams too. He's been pretty damn good the last few weeks now. He's been very efficient with the ball, throwing a lot of touchdowns, not really turning the ball over really at all. So I like the Bears here to win and cover that 3.
Yeah, I mean, I might not look at the Bears offense to win this game, but I'm definitely looking at the Bears defense to win this game. Like you said, if Jaden Daniels isn't playing this game, that's even more reason to look at this Bears defense and say, okay, this could be a hell of a performance from them. And now we've seen, through these, 7 weeks, now going into week 8, the NFC North is they're a hefty opponent across the board right now. So I'm gonna look for the Bears to get their fifth win and join the rest of the NFC North at 5 wins. So give me the Bears to win and cover.
The Broncos host the Panthers. The Broncos a 10-point favorite in this game, and look, so Bryce Young has been named the starter this week, so that's already an automatic loss. I mean, look, Andy Dalton, he had a great, week one, quote unquote, week one debut in like I think it was like week 3 or week 4. Had a great performance, right? But ever since then, he's just been getting worse and worse and worse. And he threw for less than 100 yards last week, and he had 2 picks. This Broncos defense is really good this year. Yeah, give me the Broncos to win. Give me the Broncos to cover because look, the Panthers defense is ass. The offense is especially ass. And like I said, while the Broncos offense isn't the greatest this year, they're I believe above league average in terms of yards, so that's pretty damn good. And also their defense is really really good. And again, Bryce Young is ass. He can't see his receivers downfield. So the Broncos defense might get in on some scoring as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really like Denver's defense and what they've done so far this year. I mean, they're a big part of the reason why they're 4-3 right now. I mean, they really brought it to the Bucks that when it was week 3 when they played. And I mean, they held Seattle to under 30 points. They held, the Bucks to only 7. They held I mean, the Raiders aren't a good team at all, but I mean, Denver hasn't really had a bad loss, yet. I mean, they lost to Seattle, they lost to Pittsburgh, and they lost to the Chargers. Those are all teams that I would expect that they're going to lose to. I mean, and now the Panthers, they're the school for the blind, or the team for the blind and deaf in the NFL. It's embarrassing. And then now, like you said, Bryce Young is the named starter, and we saw how bad this team was with him at the helm. And I mean, like I said in the recap, 2 for 2 for -4 yards. So looking for a really bad performance from the Panthers. Give me the Broncos to win and cover.
The Raiders host the Chiefs. The Chiefs a 10-point favorite in this one. Look, the Chiefs are first of all the worst 6-0 team I've ever seen. Patrick Mahomes, tied for the league lead in interceptions. I mean, he's thrown 6 touchdowns and 8 interceptions this year. He's just not performing well at all. And this entire offense in general has not been performing well at all. Travis Kelce's been irrelevant this year. But that said, the Chiefs' defense is great, and the Raiders cannot move the ball. I think that this is going to be somewhat lower scoring of a game, but give me the Chiefs to win. They don't cover that 10 points, though. I feel like with the Chiefs unable to move the ball, even against this okay Raiders defense, I feel like 10 points is asking a lot, especially on the road against a division opponent.
Yeah, I completely agree. I will take the Chiefs to win, but not cover. Yes, like I said earlier, I think they got DeAndre Hopkins from Tennessee, so it's a boost. But at the end of the day, they have not been playing well on offense, and it starts with Patrick Mahomes, who, like you said, is tied for the league leading interceptions with 8, and he's just not playing well at all. And right now, the defense has been the savior outside of, controversy for the Chiefs. And they are, one of, if not the best defense in the league right now. So they're playing very well. And the Raiders are not good. They're not good at all on offense. Defensively, they at least have Max Crosby, who's going to be capable of holding the run enough to where I believe the Raiders can get Patrick Mahomes for at least another interception, but I still think the Chiefs are going to pull away and win this one. The Raiders are just not capable of winning games in my eyes.
No, they absolutely are not. The Niners host the Cowboys. The Niners, a 4-point favorite in this one. And I gotta say, the Niners are not good this year. They might not even make the playoffs this year. That's how off they are, and they are really really beat up as well. That said, the Cowboys just can't do anything. They're not that beat up like the Niners are, but they just haven't really been able to do anything. They had a terrible offseason this year where they made no free agent acquisitions at all. So I feel like this is going to be kind of a toss-up of a game. I feel like just with all the injuries that the Niners have, that the Cowboys have an edge here. So give me the Cowboys to get the upset win on the road here against the Niners.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the this game is a toss-up. I personally think the edge still kind of goes to the Niners. Yes, the Cowboys are coming off of a bye, but they just got embarrassed on Jerry Jones' birthday by the Lions, and it was just pitiful. I mean, they made the Lions made them look worse than the Saints did, and I mean the Saints also put 40 points on them.
And that loss for Dallas looks even worse now too, with how bad the Saints are.
Yeah, the Lions were actually one of the best teams they've played this year outside. I mean, they also played the Ravens, but they almost beat the Ravens. They lost to the Ravens by 3. So, I'm not very confident in this Dallas team to, score the ball and, do anything really. I mean, the Lions, yeah, are a very, very good team offensively, but defensively, you have, we have Brian Branch, and they lost Aiden Hutchinson that game, but they have offensively for the Cowboys. Yes, you have Dak Prescott. You have CeeDee Lamb. He can ball out. The fact that you didn't score a touchdown against the Lions doesn't instill me with any confidence. So I'm going to take the Niners in this one, but I don't think they cover.
And then lastly, Monday Night Football, the game that nobody wants. We got the Steelers hosting the Giants. The Steelers, a 6.5-point favorite in this one. Look, the Steelers have been really outperforming themselves this entire year. I mean, on paper, you wouldn't think that they'd be 5-2 this year, but they are, and they have a really, really great defense. One of, if not the best defenses in the league right now. The Giants suck. They just flat out suck. I mean, Daniel Jones is awful. Their defense, while it's pretty good this year, isn't league leading by a whole lot, but they are, I believe, a top 10 defense in terms of total defense this year. So they're doing pretty damn well. But the Giants just cannot move the ball, and the Steelers, they can move it somewhat, but they can't move it a whole lot like a lot of other offenses in the league, although they just put up 30 points this last week. But I think they can have a repeat performance of that just because Russell Wilson looked good, and I feel like they can have a repeat performance like that against a Giants team that's really just trying to tank at this point. So give me the Steelers to win. Give me the Steelers to cover that 6.5. I think this is just going to be a blowout win because this might even be a shutout win for the Steelers here because that Giants offense is just so bad.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Steelers might pitch a shutout. Their defense is right up there with the Chiefs as one of the best in the league right now, and this Giants offense is one of the worst, if not the worst. They are just so bad, and I wasn't really confident in the Steelers, seeing that Russell Wilson was playing, but they beat the Jets pretty handily, and they're sitting at 5-2, and I think at the end of the day they're going to be 6-2, and they're going to cover. It's there's a very glaring difference in the skill level, in these, just in, overall, not even looking at the quarterback position, because obviously you have Justin Fields and Russell Wilson versus Daniel Jones. That's comparing, shit to dirt, right? It's 6 and 1,
It's
half
it's
dozen
it's
of the
com-
other.
it's comparing shit to a polished shit.
Pretty much, but yeah, I'm gonna take the Steelers because their defense, like I said, one of the best in the league, and it's they might pitch a shutout. So give me the Steelers to win and cover.
Yeah, I think they can win and cover very, very easily. So that's going to wrap us up for the NFL. So let's get now into the college football top 25 this week. Tomorrow night we got number 19 Pitt hosting Syracuse. Pitt a 6-point favorite in this game. They've surprised me this year. They're 6-0. They haven't really beaten anyone though, so I have to really see how they perform. Syracuse, on the other hand, they went on the road to beat UNLV, who was ranked at the time, in overtime. Syracuse has played. They've also played NC State on the road, and they had a good game against Georgia Tech at home. It was closer. It was an upset win over Georgia Tech at the time in week 2 because Georgia Tech was ranked at the time. So Syracuse has a pretty damn good resume here, whereas Pitt not so much. Their best win is West Virginia at home, and they only won by 4 points in that game. Give me Syracuse to get the upset win here. I feel like just their offense overall is a lot better. I've seen Syracuse play in, I wouldn't say more meaningful games, but they've played tougher games so far this year than Pitt. So give me Syracuse to get the upset win here over Pitt.
Yeah, I'm with you. That Syracuse team has definitely played more, like you said, not more meaningful, but it's definitely a tougher schedule by far. I mean, like you said, they went to ranked UNLV and won in overtime. They beat a then ranked Georgia Tech team. They have one loss on the season, but it's a very, you know, iffy loss. It's a 2-point loss to Stanford. So it's not a loss you want to see, but it happened week 3. So at the end of the day, it's you could chalk it up to early season, instability. But they've come back, and since then, like we mentioned, they beat UNLV, who's ranked. They beat NC State, who started off the year ranked, but has since fallen to the shitter. So I'm gonna also take Syracuse to win.
Yeah, and the thing is since that Stanford loss, the Syracuse offense has been a lot better this year. So, and again, Pitt, while they are good, they're not really that tested to me. So I like Syracuse in this one, just because they are a little bit tested this year. UNLV. Friday night hosts number 17 Boise State. Boise State a 3.5-point favorite in this one, and that kind of makes sense. I mean, yes, Boise State has the best running back, maybe even the best football player in general in college football in Ashton Jeanty. But UNLV's been really, really solid this year. Their only loss is to that Syracuse team. Yes, it was at home for them, but they're still really, really good. I like this UNLV team a lot, but I like this Boise State team just a little bit more. This is going to be a very, very close game. Give me Boise State to win and to cover that 3.5, but they're not winning by more than 7.
Yeah, I'm with you. This UNLV team is very good. They are. I mean, they're 6-1, so they are very capable of winning games. And at the end of the day, that overtime loss to Syracuse is the only loss they have on their schedule. But I think this Boise State team and Ashton Jeanty is just going to be a little too much for them. So give me Boise State to win and cover. But like you said, I don't think they win this one by more than a touchdown. And if they do, it's more likely just a bad game on UNLV's part than it's Boise State is just that much better, I would think.
Yeah, that's what I would think. I think at the very, very most, you're gonna get like a 9-point win from Boise State. But I just feel like with UNLV's defense, the way that they've played this year, and the way that offense has also played, I feel like they can at least keep it somewhat close. But it's really just going to lie on that UNLV offense this week. Number 4, Ohio State hosts Nebraska. Ohio State a 25.5-point favorite here. And this line moved a lot after the Indiana loss last week. I believe it was like a 19.5 point, uh, you know, favorite for Ohio State, and now it's 25.5. Look, you got depantsed by Indiana. Yes, it was on the road, but you just looked awful here, and I feel like Ohio State's just going to do that again to this Nebraska team. So give me Ohio State to win and cover. While Ohio State's good, and they really have it, this is the best team that Ohio State has faced all year, at least in terms of record. We don't know really how good Nebraska truly is, but yeah, give me Ohio State to win and cover that 25.5. That's asking a lot for the points, but if Indiana can do it, Ohio State definitely can.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. If Indiana could do it, Ohio State definitely can. Give me Ohio State to win and cover.
Number 24, Navy hosts number 12, Notre Dame. Notre Dame a 13-point favorite in this game. Look, Notre Dame, they've been playing very, very well, especially after that embarrassing loss to NIU, which, by the way, keeps just getting worse and worse and worse for them. Navy, on the other hand, is just dump trucking everyone. That said, Notre Dame has played a lot tougher opponents than Navy has all year, but I don't think that really matters. I think this is going to be a fairly close game. I think Notre Dame has a slight edge just because, again, they are at least tested. They went down to Texas A&M, to College Station, and they won in one of the toughest places to play in college football, period. Navy's not really a tough place to play against. Yes, Navy's offense is dump trucking everyone. Their defense is doing really well. Give me Notre Dame to win. Navy will keep this one close. Notre Dame will not cover that 13.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Navy will keep this one very close, but Notre Dame at the end of the day is going to pull away and win. So give me Notre Dame to win, but not cover.
Number 13, Indiana hosts Washington. Indiana, a 6.5-point favorite here. Look, I think Nebraska's a lot better of a team than Washington, and I don't think Nebraska's even that great. And they just de-pantsed Nebraska at home, and now you're bringing Washington in. Give me Indiana to win. Give me Indiana in a blowout cover here.
Yeah, I'm taking Indiana also in a blowout. It's weird to be confident to say that Indiana's going to go 8-0, but I mean at this point they've made it 7-0. So right now I have all the confidence in the world that they can beat Washington, especially that they're playing at home.
Yeah, look, Kurt Signetti is a great hire. I mean, what he did at JMU the last few years, then he brought the JMU to the FBS, and they did a great job last year, even getting ranked in their first year in the FBS. Absolutely incredible. Indiana hired him. I feel like Kurt Signetti, he's done a great job. I mean, he brought a ton of those JMU guys with him to Indiana here. The thing is, though, Rourke is injured. I don't know. He injured his throwing thumb, so I don't know if he's actually going to even be playing in this game, but I don't think it's going to matter because Indiana can run it. They can pass. I mean, they are really good. But I don't think Kurt Signetti's going to be staying at Indiana for long. Especially if the way Michigan's been playing and performing. But anyways, I'm getting my hopes up there. Number 18, Ole Miss hosts Oklahoma. Ole Miss, a 20-point favorite in this one. Look, Ole Miss has kind of disappointed me this year. They still could be a playoff team with 2 losses this year. And Oklahoma's ass, but I think Ole Miss will win. I just don't think they will cover. Jackson Dart has really just given up on his Heisman hopes at this point because, first of all, Cam Ward is having an elite season despite help from the refs, and he just and Jackson Dart hasn't been performing that well. Like I said, though, Oklahoma's ass. Give me Ole Miss to win. They just don't cover that 20.
Yeah, you said it. Jackson Dart hasn't really been playing the best recently, So I'm gonna take Ole Miss to win, and they don't cover.
Number 1, Oregon hosts number 20, Illinois. Oregon, a 21.5 point favorite here. Um, Here's the thing. Is Illinois cannot stop the run, and I don't know why Michigan threw the ball 32 times against them when the run game was doing decent enough, but whatever. Um, Oregon doesn't really have a good run game, though, and Illinois' pass defense is pretty damn good. Um, I just don't think Illinois' offense is near as good to keep up with Oregon's offense here. I think Oregon will win. I just don't think they're going to cover that 21.5. That's asking a lot. Um, especially against a team that, well, for a team that can't run the ball against a team that can't stop the run. So Oregon's going to have to figure something out with the game plan here to get the run game going. And then they can maybe cover that 21.5, but I don't think it's going to happen. So give me Oregon to win, just they don't cover.
Yeah, I'm with you. This Illinois pass defense is very good. And I mean, this Oregon team right now, they're obviously number one in the country for a reason. But I think they will win this game for Oregon, but I don't know if they cover that 21.5.
UCF hosts number 11 BYU. UCF a 2-point favorite in this game, and I kind of understand to a point because I mean UCF just took Iowa State on the road, mind you. UCF was on the road here to almost beating them, and Iowa State needing to come back to win. But that said, this UCF team lost to a not-so-good Colorado team, and they lost to a bad Florida team this year. And they kept it close with a bad TCU team, and they did ultimately win that game, but that shouldn't have been that close if you're really that good. BYU has been really good so far this year. They've been good on the road. They've been good at home. Give me BYU to get the upset win here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take BYU to go 8-0 here. I don't know why UCF is favored here. I mean, BYU is a better team, and like you said, UCF might have, they're playing at home, but they lost to Colorado, they lost to a bad Florida team, they lost to a bad Cincinnati team. Yeah, they played Iowa State close at Iowa State, but every team plays a good team close once in a while. And again, they played TCU very close. That's another bad team that they played close. And, I'm just not filled with confidence in this UCF team. So I'm going to take BYU to win.
Yeah, and I don't know the injury situation with BYU, so maybe that's why UCF is favored. But even then, I just find it hard to believe that UCF could win this game. They can, but I just don't trust it enough. Number 15, Alabama hosts number 21, Missouri. Alabama, a 16.5 point favorite here. First of all, this is not the Bama defense that we've seen the last, really through the entire Saban era. They don't have really any stars on that defense at all. I mean, we've seen a lot of great, Alabama players in the NFL play on the defensive side of the ball. Look at the Lions no further. You have quite a few Alabama players on the defensive side of the ball, and they're playing pretty damn well. But this is just not the typical Alabama defense that we've seen, and the offense isn't that great either. And Jalen Milroe does the last 2 weeks he can't run, man. I feel like he's just playing hurt. That said, Missouri's offense, something's just not right with it. Nothing's been right with it all year, and I just cannot trust them in this spot, especially on the road against a ranked Alabama team, to win this game. I think Alabama will win. I just don't think that they will cover this spread here at 16.5.
Yeah, I think that 16.5 is pretty hefty, but like you said, this Missouri offense has been shaky pretty much all year. But this Alabama team has also been playing, pretty suspect ball since upsetting Georgia. So, losing to Vanderbilt is not, something that this SEC normally witnesses, but it happened and we got to get used to it. So Missouri is a better team than Vanderbilt, assumedly, but right now they're not playing like it. So I'm going to take Alabama to win, but they're not going to cover that 16.5.
Number 25, Vanderbilt hosts number 5, Texas. Texas, a 18.5-point favorite here. And look, Vanderbilt, they deserve to be ranked, especially, with that upset win over Alabama. But this Texas team, obviously coming off a loss to Georgia where they just got really embarrassed in that game. I don't even know if Quinn Ewers is going to be starting this week now. I mean, Texas is kind of in shambles, and Vanderbilt's just ready and hungry here. I think Texas wins. I don't think they cover, though. I think just because Vanderbilt, they are hungry, especially after that beating Alabama. And Texas is kind of wounded in terms of just that coming off a loss to Georgia where they got embarrassed. So give me Texas to win, just they don't cover that 18.5.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a hefty cover. I mean, Texas, yeah, they just got embarrassed by Georgia, and you want to bounce back in any way possible. So what better opportunity to bounce back than the former lowlife of the SEC in Vanderbilt, who is now ranked. So who would have guessed that Vanderbilt could actually be a good win on your schedule for once? Now that they've actually upset Alabama, that gives them a good win. So they have a decent schedule now, and they have now being ranked. So Texas wins this game. It's gonna really help bolster their record even after losing this game to Georgia. So I'm going to take Texas to win this one in a close one, but they will not cover.
Number 6, Miami hosts Florida State. Miami, a 21-point favorite in this one. Look, the way Miami's been playing the last few weeks against really bad teams and needing to get bailed out by the refs week after week, it doesn't give me any faith here that Miami will cover the spread. That said, Florida State is dog shit. I mean, no one expected this team to be 1-6 this year at this point in the season, but here they are. So I'm gonna take Miami to win. I think Florida State's just gonna keep this close because it is an in-state rivalry. On top of the fact that it is also a conference rivalry. I just feel like Miami can win this game. They're probably going to need to get bailed out by the refs again, but give me Miami to win. They just won't cover that 21.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be yet another continuation of the streak that we've seen for Miami, where they play a close game against a lesser opponent. They have a little bit of controversy where it's like, all right, were they bailed out? Were they blah 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 blah? But at the end of the day, I think they're going to be 8-0, but they're not going to cover that 21 points.
Wisconsin hosts number 3 Penn State. Penn State, a 6.5-point favorite in this one. Look, I like Penn State to stay perfect this week. Wisconsin's not really that good. And while they are healthier than they were a couple weeks ago, I just think Penn State, the way they've been able to play, especially on the road, beating some really good teams, not really good teams, but beating good teams on the road, playing in tough environments, it's going to be, business as usual for Penn State here. They got a really good running game. Drew Aller has really turned himself around over the last 2 years, and he's been one of, if not the best, quarterbacks in the Big Ten this year. And the Penn State defense is also pretty damn good. So give me Penn State to win. Give me Penn State to cover that 6.5.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, Drew Aller has been playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten as of late. And Wisconsin might be 5-2 right now, but Penn State being 6-0, they are just a different animal right now. We've seen what Wisconsin has done against teams that they've played when they're ranked, and they got embarrassed by Alabama 42-10, and they lost to USC 38-21. And they were up 21-10 at halftime in that game. So they gave up 28 unanswered points to lose the game against USC. So I'm not very confident in Wisconsin in being able to take care of a ranked opponent, much less, Penn State. So give me Penn State to win this one, and they will cover because they're capable of beating Wisconsin by a touchdown.
Number 14, Texas A&M hosts number 8 LSU. Texas A&M a 2.5 point favorite in this game. Look, I think Texas A&M, they're overrated, but College Station, Kyle Field, it is one of the hardest places to play in college football. LSU, obviously, it's a bad loss on their record, especially now having lost to USC, but LSU is a much different and a much better team than they were, week 1, week 2, week 3. Give me LSU to get the upset win here against Texas A&M. I just feel like the way LSU has been playing the last few weeks, even when they've gone on the road, they've looked really, really well. Texas A&M kind of struggled a little bit against Mississippi State last week. I feel like this is a spot for LSU to take advantage. Give me LSU to get the upset win here on the road.
Yeah, I think LSU is very capable of winning this game. And like you said, College Station is one of the hardest places to play in college football. But LSU is, a top 10 team in the country for a reason. They're playing very good ball right now. I think they are going to win this game, but A&M's going to play it close. This is a game I'm watching where it's going to be like, the winner of this game might end up this is one of the games where both of these teams, like I said in the recap, they're leading the SEC right now. So this is for, bragging rights atop the SEC, but I'm going to take LSU to win this one.
Number 16, Kansas State hosts Kansas. Kansas State, a 10-point favorite in this one. This is a game for Kansas State where it's an in-state rivalry. It is a conference rivalry against Kansas. This is a game that is a must-win for Kansas State to, one, keep their hopes of playing in the Big 12 championship alive, but also making the playoffs. Kansas has not been good this year. They started off the season ranked, and they're now 2-5. They have not been playing very well at all. They might not even make a bowl game this year. That's how bad Kansas has been this year. Kansas State, this is a must-win game. You have to win this game. Give me Kansas to win. I like this team. They're a lot better than they were even just a couple weeks ago. Yes, they got dump trucked by BYU, but I still feel like they've gotten better since that game. Give me Kansas State to win. Give me Kansas State to cover. And if you lose this game, say goodbye to the playoffs.
Yeah, you said it best. You lose this game, you say goodbye to the playoffs and pretty much your best shot at playing in the Big 12 championship, barring an Iowa State or BYU upset later down the road. But, I'm confident Kansas State can win this game. Kansas is not the team that they were earlier in the season. They're not ranked anymore. I mean, they've lost 5 games straight, and then before winning against Houston, and Houston is not a great team by any means. So I'm not confident that Kansas can win this one, so I'm going to take Kansas State to win and cover.
And then lastly, Duke hosts number 22 SMU. SMU, an 11.5-point favorite in this one. Both these teams come into this game 6-1. SMU comes in with a much, 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 much better resume. Duke has not played anyone, and they've played pretty close games to pretty bad teams. I mean, Duke had to go to 2 overtimes to beat Northwestern. They beat UConn by only 5. They blew out Middle Tennessee, but whatever. They beat North Carolina by 1 point. They lost to Georgia Tech, and then they beat Florida State by only 7 points. And that was last week. And Florida State is ass. Duke has not played anyone, and they've beaten really bad teams in very close games that they should be blowing them out. People have said Duke should be ranked. I completely disagree with that because they haven't played anyone, and they've almost lost to all these really bad teams. I mean, again, you had to go to 2 overtimes to beat dog shit Northwestern. I rest my case there. SMU, on the other hand, much, much better, record. they lost to BYU, but we know BYU is a good team. They've blown out pretty much everyone, and they also upset Louisville on the road. So they've had a pretty damn good season so far. I like SMU a lot to win this game. I think SMU wins. I think SMU covers. I just don't have faith in this Duke team at all. They're kind of like Pitt in a way, but maybe a little bit worse than Pitt.
Yeah, I'm with you. This Duke team, they might be 6-1, but they're I'm not very confident in them in winning this game. I mean, like you said, they played a very bad Northwestern team close. They played a very bad Florida State team close. They lost to Georgia Tech by 10. They played a very bad North Carolina team close. So it's not a very good feeling, to be 6-1 if you're Duke. Especially now you have SMU and Miami next after them. So I think Duke's going to lose this one, but I don't think SMU covers at 11.5.
Yeah, I think they can, just because again Duke hasn't beaten anyone good, and SMU has, and SMU's gone on the road and beaten at the time a ranked Louisville team, and I just feel like SMU's a little bit more tested, and again Duke is barely beating these really really bad teams, so I just don't have faith in Duke to keep this one even close with a battle tested SMU team. So that is going to wrap us up for the college football top 25. So now we're going to talk a little bit of baseball. World Series Game 1 is Friday night with the Yankees and the Dodgers. The Yankees won their series against the Guardians 4-1, and the Dodgers won their series against the Mets 4-2. We look at this series. The Dodgers are favored in Game 1 to win this one. It will have Flaherty versus Garrett Cole. Really, really good pitching matchup here between these two teams. I feel like Garrett Cole, he hasn't been as good as he has been in years past, but he's still good enough. Flaherty's fallen off since he got traded from the Tigers this year, though. That said, the best player in baseball plays for LA right now, and that is Shohei Ohtani. Yes, it's annoying seeing the Shohei's up to bat in 3 hours on some completely irrelevant, channel that you're watching on TV. I get it. It's annoying as fuck. But I feel like the Dodgers have an edge just in terms of offense over the Yankees in this entire series. Yankees, though, have the better pitching staff, I feel like. So this is going to be a very, very interesting series. I think LA will take Game 1, probably Game 2, and then from there, I don't really know where this series can go. I don't really care. I wish both teams would lose, because both teams' fan bases, awful, awful fan bases, probably the worst two fan bases in all of sports, let alone in baseball. It's the World Series that nobody wants except for LA fans and Yankees fans and people in Japan, and that's just about it. And I mean, no true baseball fan ever wanted this matchup because these teams and their fans are unbearable. And I feel like the only true winner of this is the TV markets.
Yeah, I mean, that's about my opinion on this. I don't really like this matchup whatsoever, but I mean, I had a feeling that this was going to happen just because, I mean, don't get me wrong, these are two of the most talented teams in the league, so it very well could have happened from, Game 1, that this could have been our World Series matchup. Not just because, they're two of the biggest markets, but these are two of the best teams in the league. The offensive talent is off the charts on both of these teams. I mean, the fact that you can say you have Juan Soto and Aaron Judge in the same outfield is just absurd, And then on the other side, you have Mookie Betts, you have Freddie Freeman, you have, obviously, like you said, the best hitter in baseball right now, Shohei Ohtani. Just absolute star power on both sides. So it's a very high market game, and every single one of these games is scheduled at 8 o'clock. So now all of a sudden the MLB is like, okay, we're not going to shoot ourselves in the foot, or at least it's 8 o'clock Eastern. But so now they're not going to shoot themselves in the foot, right? So they're going to have these markets, and they're going to have these games. But now, obviously, they only have one series going on, so you can't have every single game of every single series starting at the same time. So then you're going to have no one paying attention to the others, right? But, you know, like you said, Japan is going to be a big market in this game because obviously Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, both of them representing their country. And it's, we saw what the country of Japan did in the World Baseball Classic. So we see now that, they are a big baseball market. So, that it's going to be a very heavily watched game. But personally, I don't want to watch it. But at the end of the day, baseball is baseball. And, one of these teams is going to, I guess, win a legitimate ring for the first time in forever.
All right, so I guess the question for you is who are you taking to win the World Series?
I'm going LA in 5. I think New York's going to win game 1, but from then on out, it's just going to be all LA.
I think it's going to be LA in 6. I think New York is going to drop the first 2, actually, and then win 2 at home, and then lose that third game at home, and then go back out to LA and lose there, and that will be that series. I think LA is just obviously a lot more stacked of a team offensively. Pitching, I still give the edge to New York, but the LA pitching staff is also really, really good. So I'm going to take LA in 6. I hate both these teams. I wish we could just nuke them off the face of the earth, and baseball will be saved forever if we got rid of them, but you can't really do that. But anyways, so that, guys, is going to do it for us. Next Tuesday, we'll, of course, go over the weekend for the NFL and the college football top 25. And we'll probably go over some of the games, anyways, of the World Series up until that point as well. And this is the best time of the year. You got football mid-season. Things are heating up both in the NFL and college football. The NHL's been rolling for 2 weeks now, and the NBA just started last night on Tuesday. So it is truly sports nirvana with everything going on right now. You got the World Series. All 4 sports are going right now, so it's fantastic. October is the greatest month of sports ever. So anyways, guys, rate, review, subscribe, help us out. Let us know what you guys want to see more of. Of course, check out our Twitter or X page, whatever you want to call it, at the Andrew and Ian Show. Check out our YouTube page, of course, as well. Thank you guys again so much for listening, and we will see you guys on Tuesday.